So I'd like to welcome everyone tonight to another LOC Connection series. Tonight we have an opportunity to hear and learn more about the Class Ring Memorial Program from Debbie Edelen. She's a classmate of class of 92, and she's also the Senior Director of the Alumni Support at the AOG. And Amy Plotkin is the Class Support Program Coordinator. But before we hear from them, I'd like to get started. Susan Luther has been the new assistant leader for about 5 weeks, and already she scheduled this and talked to the ladies at the AOG, and she is going to be the liaison for the Class Ring Memorial Program to connect with the widows of 77. And we have a widow that reached out to us, and that kind of gave the birth of Susan's role and wanted to do that, and so which prompted this meeting tonight. So we're very excited about what Susan is doing with the memorial program, and we're very thankful for her connections bringing Debbie and Amy here. So we'll go around the horn tonight, and in our gallery, Patty, we will hear. You won't see her, but she's on her phone. So Patty, will you tell us your name and the company you represent?
Sure. I'm Patty Adams, and I'm married to Greg, and I represent D1.
Thanks, Patty. Diane?
Excuse me, I'm Diane Wheeler, and my husband Larry is in A4.
Thank you. Cindy?
I'm Cindy Scott. My husband Harry is E2, and as she said, I'm the hospitality person as well. And 77 is number 1.
Yeah. We know about all the events because of Cindy, and we go on many trips. So she is hospitality queen. Marianne?
I'm Marianne Durso, married to Joe Durso, C4.
Jenny?
Jenny Lennox, married to Bob Lennox, C1 and First Reg.
And Susan?
Susan Luther, G3.
And Lynn?
Lynn Belcher, C1.
And I'm Pam Warwick. My husband's in I3, the Great Iguanas. And so tonight, I'm going to ask the gallery to mute. And I'm going to turn it over to our presenters, Debbie and Amy. Debbie and Amy, thank you so much for coming, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Pam and Susan, for inviting us to speak tonight to the ladies of the class of 1977, Esprit de Corps, about the West Point Association of Graduates Class Ring Memorial Program. And I'd like to thank all of you who are on the call tonight, too. We look forward to an engaging conversation. I've been at the West Point Association of Graduates for 2.5 years. I am class of 1992, as Pam had mentioned, and I've been privileged in that time to lead this powerful program. In alumni support engagement, our team provides programs and services for grads, cadets, family members, surviving family members, classes, societies, parents clubs, and shared interest groups. And we take our job very seriously. It's a labor of love for us. We love the West Point family and the Long Gray Line. And so we hope that you all see that in the services and the programs that we provide. Joining me is my teammate, Amy Plotkin, and I'll allow her to go ahead and introduce herself as well.
My name's Amy Plotkin. I've been working here at the AOG for about 1.5 years now, and I'm the class support program coordinator. So I do a lot of general class support, and I work with all of our alumni class officers and with our current cadet class officers. And I have the wonderful privilege of working with our ring donors for the Ring Memorial Program.
Thanks, Amy. So to kick us off tonight, we would like to show you our most recent video that commemorates the 25th annual Ring Melt ceremony.
I think the ring melt is one of the 2 most powerful ceremonies that we execute at the United States Military Academy. The donors of their rings come together and put it into the crucible to be melted into, that gold bar that then gets carried on year after year after year. I think that's really powerful. And when you sit back and think about it, it's one of the things that sets us apart from any other institution around the world.
Ron Turner, class of 1958, who wrote into our Assembly magazine letter to the editor that he thought that we should have a program that graduates could bequeath or their family members could donate rings that would be melted and then placed in the rings for the next year's class.
Exciting thing about this year, it's our 25th year of the ring melt ceremony. 25 years is an amazing milestone in this program.
Tony Ferriolo, who was the first class support director here at the West Point Association of Graduates, worked very hard with the class of 2002, the Commandant, the Academy, to bring that program to life. And so the very first ring melt included 31 rings, and they went to Herff Jones out in Rhode Island, and they went and conducted the very first ring melt. West Point proudly is the first university to have class rings. It started in 1835, and we are just so honored because it's really to the core of what connects us and identifies us as graduates of the United States Military Academy.
The expectation is you're going to deliver for the Army and for the nation, regardless of if you're in uniform or out of uniform. You're a graduate, and that is something that stays with you for your lifetime. That's part of the lifetime of service to our nation, and this is symbolic of that. It represents that. This is representative of people that have, given their all, not only for the institution, but for the nation. And I see that continuing as long as this institution is here.
And you have to thank the donors, the ring donors that have given so many rings over so many years and will continue to do so, for the years to follow. Not only the rings that are donated to the Crucible, but the words and the stories that they share in the process is meaningful, not just for the Corps, but for all of us that are a part of it.
It's awe-inspiring for sure to see a family give away a piece of their family legacy and history so that it would live on with future graduates of the Academy.
Families are involved. When I think about the most connected alumni body in the world, it may be parenthetical, but it's not just the graduates, it's not just the alumnus. It's the family that is also connected. The story of the relationship between classmates and graduates is what makes us the long gray line and what makes the long gray line so different.
The legacy gold is trace elements of gold from every ring that has been donated to the ring melt since the class of 2002's ring melt.
It's all about legacy. I think it's also about responsibility. For our cadets to know who's come before them, how they served, what they experienced, their successes and failures. It's a huge part of the learning experience, I think, as a cadet. But it also gives them a great appreciation of where they're at inside of this tradition.
We have 8 Distinguished Graduate Award recipients rings incorporated in the Legacy Gold, 2 former commandants of cadets, 100 general officers, and 10 of those general officers were 4-star generals. We have the ring of 1 astronaut, and one of the rings donated went to space. There are 7 Distinguished Service Cross recipients. 1 ring was donated in honor of a Medal of Honor recipient. There are 18 graduates whose rings are incorporated in Legacy Gold who were killed in action. Honoring their supreme sacrifice and valor is very important.
Who else has this? And to connect with so many notable people in our past who have made history, and so many people who will be notable in the future and will make history. It's just a fantastic program.
You see now that there's a connection to the long gray line, and those families are invested in giving their ring and telling their graduate story wherever they had gone, what they had done, who they fought with. It exposes the cadets to a broader story than just, I got a ring. You've got a connection now to folks, fellow graduates that have done tremendous things, and you see their families come and tell the story, and then your family wants to be a part of it, and that strengthens the whole process.
I hope it inspires you to become better leaders and better soldiers.
The ring melt encapsulates what AOG does and how we serve We want to make everything we do with the cadets inspiring. We want to bring the long gray line to them and show them what right looks like, what they can aspire to be, and even what they can aspire to do better.
Thus, the donation of it being powerful as it is, because I truly believe the power of the ring melt and the connection of the long gray line.
I love the ring melt program. Really happy that it's something that exists. All of us are super excited to get our rings. I just got this in August this year, and it makes it even more special looking down at our rings and knowing that we're connected to over 800 graduates that graduated before us. Our specific ring melt, we had 88 rings in total that were donated to the legacy gold that was poured into the gold that formed our rings. It's pretty cool and inspiring to think about those that graduated before us as we embark on our lifetime of service.
It's a great demonstration of the old being part of the new. And if they can draw on the legacy with what they wear on their hand, that's a good thing.
Okay, well, thank you. I think that video really just encapsulates everything about the program, why the Association of Graduates does it, and the significance of it. So as was mentioned, this started with the class of 2002. Their ring melt was in November 2000. And since then, with the popularity and growth of the program, the class of 1966 decided to endow the program in honor of their fallen brothers. And we're grateful for that because that has allowed us to continue to grow this program. And we're working really hard. You can see the support that we've gotten from the senior leadership at the Academy, and trying to get all of the cadets there is one of our major goals in the subsequent year. So we're really pushing hard to try and make that happen for this upcoming ring melt, and seeing if we can get the whole Cal class there so that they can witness the ring melt and feel to their core the sacrifices that are being made to go into their rings and the tradition that they're carrying on. So as I mentioned before, at the AOG, we are the connectors of the Long Gray Line and the West Point family. And so this program is just so unique and powerful in what it does. One of the things that I'd like to mention is that I don't know how many of you saw the recent launch of the SpaceX NASA mission up to the International Space Station, but at the last ring melt, we scraped some of the gold specifically for Colonel Ann McLean, who's class of 2002. Again, the first class to have received legacy gold in their rings. And she has taken the legacy gold, and it's up with her right now at the International Space Station. And so when she returns, we're hoping that she will be able to come to the next ring melt to add that and add her remarks on why it was important for her to do that and what the significance was. But we really hope that when she comes back, that our future leaders are inspired and see that anything can be achieved beyond our imaginations when we apply determination and excellence, along with that sense of purpose and values from West Point and the bravery that goes along with every West Point graduate and what they aim to do in their service and sacrifices. Amy, if we could go to the next slide, please. Okay, so the ring melt is an annual event. It's usually held in January. Because we are trying to get the cadets there, we're limiting the rings to 70 rings. Our deadline is September 1st. The ceremony is a very special ceremony that's created to honor the graduates whose rings have been donated for that year. And again, it benefits the Cal class. So we do have about 60 of the cadets participating and helping with the ceremony, whether they're serving as escorts for family members who are donating rings or escorts for graduates who are donating their own rings. It's a very special event, and really there's no other that connects the Long Gray Line in this very special way. The way that the ceremony works is the rings are placed in the crucible. You saw that in the video. And then the legacy gold is added to it. So again, this year we're hoping that that legacy gold won't be stuck at the International Space Station like the last year's mission was stuck. But we're hoping that Colonel McLean can add that to the crucible, along with the legacy gold that we have at the AOG. And then it will be merged and melded in ICAL, and it will be created into a new gold bar. We'll take the scrapings from that for legacy gold for the class of 2028. So who donates their rings? Again, family members, graduates, And then we also have the fifth-year affiliate class is traditionally very generous in supporting the ring melt. Anywhere between 9 to 11 have participated in the past, and it really just is so important to the cadets. If we could go to the next slide, you can see the close connections that are created with the escorts and with those who are presenting rings from the cadet class. And you can see here the most recent class president who benefited from the ring melt talked about how gold unites and legacy ignites. And I think that that really just sums it up from the cadets. It's a powerful program. They come in and they meet the family members or they meet the graduates and they leave with a different perspective. And it's really amazing to see. At this time, I'd like Amy to talk about the impact on the family members.
So I have the privilege of developing relationships with our ring donor families pretty early on. So at this time, we have 16 rings that have come in. So I've started working with families, and just in the last 2 years that I've been able to work on the ring melt program, I've heard from family members that they've said that there's been a lot of healing and that they've found comfort in returning their loved one's ring to a place that holds such meaning and significance to their loved one and to their family and their family's legacy. They also really enjoy the cadet connection that they have. For some, they are grandparents and they're donating their class ring to a cadet who will be receiving that gold for their own class ring. And so there's those really unique, special family connections. And then, as Debbie mentioned, all of our families who come to the ring melt ceremony have a cadet escort. And so they get to meet a bright cadet who walks around with them throughout the day's activities. For many of them, they'll correspond after the event, writing letters. And we even had one widow last year or the year before who donated her miniature ring to a cadet. And that was very meaningful for the cadet who received that. She was very touched by the experience. And so, as you can see from the quotes here, the families find they find the program very rewarding and meaningful. And then I'll move on to the actual nuts and bolts of the process. Rings are accepted in order of donation date before September 1st. That's our deadline. Or until if we reach 70 rings first, then that is our deadline. As I mentioned, we have 16 rings right now, so there's still plenty of opportunity to donate and to be a part of this year's program. There are 3 pieces to ring donation. The first is an electronic donation form. And if you have classmates who are a little intimidated by technology, this is something I can help them with. I can help walk them through it. I can fill it out for them, but it's pretty basic and pretty easy to fill out. The second piece is a class ring, and we do ask if you're able to have the stones removed ahead of time. That's our preference. However, we do have a local jeweler that we trust who is also able to take the stones out, and then we would return them to you at the ceremony. And then a memorial article or a biography for the ring owner. So those are the 3 pieces. And we get this question often, do we have a program for our miniature rings? And at this time, we don't, but it is something that's in the pipeline and something that we've been discussing. So I'll turn it back over to you, Debbie.
Okay, so I would just like to know if anybody has any questions or comments about the program.
I guess I would like to ask Debbie, why only 70 rings accepted each year?
Well, there's a lot of work that goes into the ring melt. And so the reason we had to cut it off at 70 is because it helps to maintain the flow of the ceremony, especially when we're trying to get the cadets there. We need to keep the ceremony to a certain amount of time. And we do want to make sure that each of the families who do donate have their moment to remember their loved one as they put their ring in the crucible. And so it really is like a meaningful memorial ceremony almost for the family members and even for the graduates who were putting it in. It's their opportunity opportunity to inspire the next generation. So that's why we've decided that 70 is probably the right number to make sure that we can make sure the families have their moments, but also respect the cadets' time and hopefully getting them there for this ring melt.
Very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. I should add, Marianne, if we do hit 70 before the September 1st deadline, we do make special consideration for two things. One, 50-year affiliate rings that may come in, and number two, for family connections to cadets. So those are the only two exceptions that we really do make. So I do want to make sure that you all know that, but please don't wait till the last minute. Or make sure that people know. We would appreciate them not waiting till the last minute. But we do feel that those connections are especially powerful, and we want to make sure that they get into the right ring melt for that connection.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
And so the timeline, so those 70 rings that are turned in or commit by September 1st. So January 26 would be the August class of 2028 rings. Is it that 8-month period? Like the ring melt of January.
Right. So the ring melt for the class of 2027 will take place, or is expected to take place, in January of 2026. So we are currently
1 year.
Right. So we're currently accepting rings for the class of 2027 until September 1st.
Okay. That's fast.
It is.
January.
And then they order their rings in February, right after the ring melt, which is the other reason as far as timing. We want to make sure that the cadets have an opportunity to really understand what is in their rings and what it signifies before they order it. I actually had a cadet tell me that he was going to just order a battle ring, and battle rings weren't around. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's basically like an aluminum ring, and it's the cheapest ring that they could get. And this cadet was coming from a West Point family, and he said, well, I just want to get a battle ring. But then he went to the ring melt and experienced the ring melt and said, no, I want to get the nicest ring I possibly can to acknowledge and remember those who have come before me. And so it's very powerful to see the cadets and to hear their minds get changed just because they experienced that event.
Debbie and Amy, I just want to say thank you for sharing this information. I know my husband had mentioned doing that with his ring, and I thought, not sure why, but now that I've seen the video and see how wonderful the ceremony is, I can definitely understand why he would like to do that. Thank you.
Lynn, thank you so much. That means a lot to hear that. We appreciate it.
Pam, who is our class rep? Is that Steve Heineke for the rings?
I don't know if we have a rep. That's why when we had the widow reach out to us through the CEC, and they sent it to me, and I said, well, we don't have a connection yet. So that was all the time that when Susan came on. And so Susan is going to be our connection if it's just from, if it's a widow that contacts us. Now, a classmate, I don't know. I'll find out who they would contact.
Well, they can always contact us if they have questions about it. One thing that we've been very careful to do, and I feel the same way as I've told my family, I'm going to be wearing this ring. You're going to have to take it off of me on my last day. But we understand it's a very personal decision. And so our aim is just to make people aware of the program. And if a family or if a graduate feels compelled to leave a legacy behind in this special way, then we are just very grateful to provide that opportunity and the connection with future generations. And when you think about, that first class ring that went in 1896, I wonder what that graduate considers and thinks about, if he only knew, well, he may now be looking down on the International Space Station to imagine that his part of his gold is in space right now. And so just thinking in the future, you know, another 100, 150 years, what is going to be possible? It's very exciting. So thank you all.
Debbie, I didn't know anything really about the legacy goal piece. We went with the class of 63 widow. We escorted her for the ring melt in 20, right before COVID, because she had a relationship with a cadet that was going to get a family member, and he is going to get it in August. And I thought it was just those 70 rings that, like John's ring would be in that, and those other 69. But the legacy goal, has that always been a thing?
Yes, since the very first ring melt, they've always been scraping a little bit off of the gold bar, reserving it for the following year, and then adding it to the crucible at the ring melt. And then again, going through the process, scraping it off of the bar and reserving it for the following year's ring melt. And I hope it gives you chills, just like it does give me chills, to think about the fact that West Point rings were created, like the cool concept at West Point. And so the concept of the ring melt also at West Point, that new tradition. It's pretty important, pretty special. And sometimes I pinch myself. I know Amy feels the same way, that we get to bring this program to life.
Did I understand you correctly, Debbie, to say that West Point is the only service academy that has such a tradition?
The Naval Academy has something similar, not exactly like it. The Air Force Academy does, and then Coast Guard Academy, but all of those have pretty much taken what we've done and copied it. So, and we're thrilled to have them follow close order behind us as we lead the way. Are there any other questions?
Just a comment. I have there's a cadet in our affiliate class whose dad we sponsored when he was a cadet.
Oh.
When I told him that I was planning to donate John's ring, he was just so thrilled. He was so thrilled. It was amazing. I mean, this young man, he's a second year cadet, and he was just so overwhelmed by that whole piece, you know, that this tradition, this long gray line continues. It's amazing. Yeah.
Wow. So Susan, one thing,
especially, you know, from the cadets' perspective, you know, it means a lot to him. It feels really, it was great to get his response to it. You know, because sometimes a college sophomore might say, you know, that, you know, I would think that a typical college sophomore would, I don't know what their response would be, but I was very surprised I was very honored by his response to it. So, yeah. And that's even before the melt has happened. So.
Well, I can't wait to see his reaction after the melt, Susan. And thank you. I didn't realize that you were planning to donate your husband's ring. So we'll look forward to taking good care of you. And please make sure that we have the name of that cadet. We would love to make sure that he escorts you, unless there's somebody else who would like us to pair you with.
To have him, yes, escort me. That would be great.
Okay, good.
Wonderful. Thank you.
It's all about the connections, right? And
absolutely. Yes.
It's truly an amazing program.
Really is.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
very emotional too, ladies. I mean, yeah, it's very emotional. I've gone. I mean, this for me, I feel like I've run a marathon.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Just through this whole piece, this presentation and all. So anyway, it's very emotional. It's certainly a personal choice, and I had my moment of thinking, you know, is this the best thing for me to do? And I know it is. I remember when I was out walking when we were living at West Point, and walking by as two grandchildren were presenting. This was years ago, before the whole melt thing was going on, but grandchildren of the graduate were taking the rings up and presenting them. It was just very emotional for me then. I can still envision it. The little girl was dressed in a white dress, and her brother was in a suit, I think, and they were probably 8 or 9 years old. Yeah.
Well, I want you to know it's emotional for all of us too. We have a large team that participates, not just us, but the Academy helps support this too, and we all feel it to our marrow as far as what this means. So we're the stewards of the program, but we're also the lucky ones who get to serve our graduates and our cadets and the families in this special way. So thank you, Susan. Thank you.
Thank you for supporting us, all of us.
Any other last comments or questions?
Just thank you.
Debbie and Amy, isn't there a place that they could go and watch the entire ceremony?
Yes, it's on our West Point Association of Graduates YouTube link. We'll be happy to send you the slide deck along with all of the links included and the links to the YouTube live page where you can see the previous year's full live stream of the event.
That would be helpful, because I think some people that watch just this interview still might want to know more. And if you watch the ceremony, you'll want to give your whole family's rings. I mean, it's very touching and very honoring of the graduate and the family. But thank you again, Debbie and Amy. We really appreciate the support of the AOG. We appreciate your time in the evening sharing with us. So
thank you for the opportunity. We appreciate it. And thanks again for everything you ladies do. We appreciate you.
We have a great time doing it, right?
Yes, we do.
All
We're
right.
a big party.
Esprit de corps.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.